Welcome back, everybody, for the second session for today. Today, we will be discussing one more important topic, that is the financial statements for non-corporate entities. There is a lot of disparity in the financial statements that are prepared by everybody for the non-corporates, be it LLPs, partnerships, individuals. So, to get that into to have a uniformity with that, the ICI has now come up with a technical guide which tells us how to prepare those statements. The guidance note on same is also under preparation and will be released soon. Uh, to describe, to discuss in detail about these, we have with us CA Padmashree Crasto. She will be taking us through how these statements need to be prepared and what all needs to be disclosed. To introduce our today's speaker, I would like to call our today's coordinator and core group member, C. Ramja.
Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our today's speaker, CA Padmashree Castro. She's a partner with the Audit and Assurance at MSKC and Associates and having over 20 years of experience. She is responsible for the quality assurance function in the Audit and Assurance and has also implemented the ISQM in December 22. She is in charge of keeping, she possesses in-depth knowledge of standards of auditing, quality standards, methodology, IFRS, company law, accounting standards, Ind AS, IPO related matters. She imparts various training programs of professional interest and audit tools at various forums. She is a regular contributor to WRC and ICI publications. She is a special invitee to Center of Audit Quality and Technical Reviewer of FS. With this brief introduction, I would like everyone to welcome our today's speaker. Before I hand over the mic to her, I would request CA Chintan Shah and CA Krishna Kumarji to present memento to our today's speaker.
Hello, everyone. So it's my privilege to be here for the second time. I think earlier I had come once, but then I liked to come here over and over again. My people also standing, please. I'm so happy today that is here with whom I started this profession. So thank you so much, sir. After many years, I lost me touch in between and tried to find out. And today, sir, actually in blessing, I feel like, it's always that sincere presence, sir. So this. Financial statements of non-company entities. Already there are questions that have come, started coming, but then yes, there are more and more questions that we'll try and understand. Okay, do we all do non-company financial statements. Yes. Is there any exceptions or something? So, what is the need for financial statements of non-company? What are the different non-companies? Beyond that. Yes. Corporate society. What else? KOP, BI, yes. So, there is a technical guide on non-company FS. Yes, there are two. One is LLP and one is non-company FS. Why is that distinction? Why is it distinction? So initially when the announcement of ICI came on applicability of accounting standards for non-company, non-corporate FS, right? That was the announcement. Then it changed to non-company FS. Because LLP is a corporate. Right? So there are two sets. One is technical guide on non-corporate, which is like actually, which includes LLP. So there are two different, not much differences. We go through the balance sheet. Then we can jump onto the financial statement. How many of us, honestly, have gone through the technical guide or the announcement on non-company FS? So, it's very important. So, when we talk about accounting standard, we all know for certain criteria, threshold, everything are non-Ind AS companies. Which standards apply? Accounting standards or Ind AS? Which one? Accounting. And then we know there were level 1, 2, and because of the non-company FS announced level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, there is level 4, which is the tiniest, smallest, where many of the accounting standards doesn't apply. Why is this bottlenecking? Could we mention it? I tell you cases when we were discussing in the study group. Few of the things that came upfront was that few of us are, don't take it otherwise, gone into the extent of taking a printout. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good because accounting standards are applicable to all the companies, different levels, but then at least notes to account is applicable to everyone. Basis of accounting, accounting policies, these things are applicable everyone, isn't it? But we never did that. Right? We never did or we never ensured that it is done. Simplest example, depreciation. In case of any kind of LLP, partnership, anything, how many of us even think beyond income tax depreciation? Do we think beyond? Generally, no. 98% I would say no. Let us take the income tax rates and then put the depreciation. Isn't it? But are we required to think? Are we required to think? Yes, definitely. Assessment of useful life. If you buy a software and then that has a different life, you should think. You should give explanation. Who stops you from doing? You want to take an accelerated depreciation on something. You can do that. So this is accounting. That is income tax. That can become an income tax adjustment if it is not allowed by income tax, right? But accounting can always be done. Isn't it? We don't think to that level, but that is required. Okay? Notes to account. So many of us write basis of accounting. So cash basis of accounting is largely gone. Barely available for one or two options. Professionals with certain exceptions, isn't it? Yes, but you still see some of the entities doing cash basis accounting. Yes. Yeah, there is a difference of opinion here. But largely cash basis of accounting is gone out of the window. So to formalize, so this is very necessary. So we have briefly applicability criteria for classification, and then how do you classify accounting standard, relaxation exemption, and some FAQ, and then we will look at statements. So when we started off this journey, there were lots of things that we thought whether you should do current, non-current, whether you should give the format only T type or vertical. All these were thought about. But then, in order to bring uniformity, we thought of bringing it in the normal balance sheet format. So T type is not there in the technical guide. You see, it's normal flow of the liquidity basis of financial statements, right? That is what everyone prepares, even from the tally. You will. Yeah. So this was an announcement which came in 31st of March 2021. So we are in the third year, right? We are in the third year. So this announcement supersedes earlier announcement, which actually spoke about the harmonization of income. And scheme for applicability will have to come in from 1st of April 2020. Okay, let's look at criteria for classification. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So simplest thing. Non-company financial statements. First step, what we will do is that we will have to make a yes, no, not applicable, and then it classifies it into level 1, 2, 3. Any kid in our offices will be able to, isn't it? Yeah, 3 conditions, if and you will arrive the answer. That's the simplest. That should be our starting point. What are the classifications? This is level 1. What is level 1? Now forget companies for a time being. We are only talking about non-companies, including LLP for the time being. Okay, non-company. Let's keep companies away for some. Entities whose securities are listed. First question. Right? You can't list yourself if you are not. How many of us think that if you are not a company, we can't? Is that not being a company? Yes. InvITs, mutual funds, some other type of funds or AIF. Yes. And in some other jurisdictions, or outside India. Some SME stock exchanges. Right? There is a possibility. We need to look at it. Yeah. For this, we need to understand our client, what is he doing. Shares. Shares is not the only way of listing. Right? Definition of SIP as per your Securities Regulation Act includes shares, debentures, bonds, any kind of financial instrument which is issued to collect money, isn't it? So anything is possible. Banks, including cooperative banks. Okay? It's not the main class bank which is the state bank or a bank that is a nationalized bank. It is including cooperative financial institution. Can there be a financial institution? Yes. Yes, very much. Right? Entities carrying on insurance business. Now this have to be a public limited company with 100. So that's the base minimum that you require. So this is not possible, only this is, but it is put in here so that in future, if anything is there, then it will get covered, right? All entities engaged in commercial industrial category that is only applicable to level 1. Okay? After this level 1, baki sub level 2 E. Now, every other level is measured by these people. Right? Entities engaged in commercial industrial business turnover exceeding 250 in the immediately preceding accounting year. So if you are looking for applicability of the accounting standard for 23-24, then your balance sheet as on 31st March 23, you have to look at 250 CR or more, and borrowing where more than 50 CR. So 250, 50, or holding and subsidiary entities of any of the above. Now, interesting question. Can a non-company entity have a subsidiary? Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes. How? Because your accounting standard talks about significant influence, right? And your accounting standard does not to companies. So you can have a subsidiary. You can have a holding company. You must have seen some of the trusts like TCS and other places where trust consolidates companies. Yes, very much possible. Infosys is there, TCS is there. There are few more companies where trust consolidate the companies. Yes, that's what TCS gets consolidated into Tata Systems and things like that, right? So it happens. So if you are a holding or a subsidiary, जब भी हम कोई ट्रस्ट का या किसका भी बैलेंस शीट खोल के देखते हैं, फर्स्ट थॉट हमको आएगा अरे इसको कुछ भी एप्लीकेशन, राइट और रॉन्ग? Honestly, that's what even I used to think some years ago, right? ये तो एकदम मिनिमम कॉम्प्लिकेशन है इसमें करके खत्म करते हैं, but that's not so. You have to think about the structure, you have to think about the detailing as to what is the entity, what is it doing, how is it, whether it has any holding or subsidiary. If it has holding or subsidiary, तो वो direct level 1 में गिरेगा, बराबर? That we have to always remember. Clear on this? Because this is the foundation, so I'm spending entire thing of how you apply your account. Everything depends on deciding of level 1, 2, 3, 4. Second level, the first 2 points are not there. Instead of 250 and 50, it is between. So turnover is between 50 to 250, and this is between. Yeah, borrowing is between 10 to 50. So there it was about 250, borrowing 50. Here the turnover is 50 to 250, and the borrowing is 50 to 10 to 50. Okay, and also the holding and subsidiary of the account. Then level 3, it's 10 to 50 turnover, and then the borrowing is 2 to 10, and holding and subsidiary. In level 4, we need not have another slide. Anything that is not 1 to 3, it will be 4. So basically, it is not listed, it is not a bank insurance or anything. Where turnover is less than 10 CR, borrowing is less than 2 CR, and it's not a holding subsidiary of 1 to 3 above. Level 4. Or it's not cumulative. Yeah, it's or. Sorry? So it's whether the entity is listed. Those securities are listed. Larger scheme of things, because in the technical guide it is explained also. Securities are listed or the entity itself is. We are good to go on this, right? So let's technical guide, not done any alteration to it. It is as is from the. Now I have put 2, 3, and 4. I haven't put level 1 column because by default level 1. I have put 2, 3, and 4 here. So AS1, everything applicable. 2, everything if you have inventory, if you don't have, if service company, it will not be applicable. AS3 is applicable only to level 1, not applicable to 2, 3 and 4. 4 is applicable, okay, if you have. 5 is applicable. 7 is applicable if you have construction code. 9 is applicable. 10 is applicable to level 2. And for 3 and 4, there are some disclosure exemptions that are available. Similarly, 11 disclosure exemptions to 3 and 4. 12 everywhere applicable. 13 to level 4, there are, disclosures exemption are applicable. 14, there is a note, you will see that note, that's very important. You will see that note, okay? And 15, it's always exemption based on the number of employees. This one standard is most because of the number of employees, the disclosure and the actual. So 16, everywhere applicable. 17, it may be applicable to level 1. Okay, so it is applicable, otherwise it's not. 18, applicable to level 2, 3 and 4, largely not applicable. 19 is also with exemption. 20, because there's no shares, so it's not there. 21, this not. It's for consolidation. If you are doing consolidation, then 21, 23 and 27. So it is like this. If you are doing consolidation, do it as per 21, 23, 27. If you are not doing, it's different for. Whether you can do, yes you can do. Whether you should do, 21, 23, 27. You can't go to some other standard or use your own principles. Correct? Then 26, certain things applicable. 27 we spoke about. 28, impairment, not largely applicable. And then 29, always applicable based on accrual basis. So this is something that again you can convert it into a checklist and you have to document. Now I am talking about checklist and documentation because documentation is also important, not important, very important. So you all are aware of AQMMs? Yes, audit quality maturity model. It has kicked in for 31st of March. If we have to be in audit, then we have to ensure compliance with AQMM. So that will be, I think, a detailed another as of now going on, but there will be detailed programs on that on how to implement AQMM also. Because there's a lot of things that are going towards whenever we are doing any amalgamation, if you want to book for any amalgamation, then do it as per 14. If you are not accounting for or only taking it as some assets taken over, it's a different case. If you are accounting, then we have to always follow 14. Same for 21, 23, 27. And if I generally no one does for non-company. But then if at all you do, then interim financial will be in that spirit. And whenever you do consolidation, you have to do only 21, 23, 27. You can't use. To go here, any questions? Now, coming back to basic questions. When do you prepare financial statements of non-FS company? So, companies that, say for example, you prepare because you prepare in the sense you audit because you are supposed to submit it to ROC and you have to hold a AGM, right? Before 30th September, not considering extension cases, 30th September largely. Yes? Now, when do we prepare or audit non-company financial statement? For what purpose? Tax audit largely? Yes. whichever act requires. For example, requires the mutual fund regulation requires, AIF regulation requires, we prepare the financial statements, right? So whenever the general purpose financial statement, it has the framework, financial reporting framework. So what is the financial reporting? This is the financial reporting framework for non. It's not complete AS, but it is the framework that is applicable. Okay. Coming to the bank loan. For the bank loan, what you prepare is not general purpose financial statement. Do we agree? Yes or no? So it is a special purpose. So what will be your report format? As required by the this standard, this standard, SA 800. Yes, SA 800. So whenever you do special purpose reporting, you have to have SA 800. Rightly said that you will only go by. What is the difference between general purpose and special purpose? Yes, users of financial statements are defined. Way of preparing the financial statements are defined. You want to take some example. Very, very important. There is a restriction on use para. It cannot be used by anyone and everyone unless like SA 700 rupees, which is your general purpose financial statement. Okay, this can happen in case of company, non-company, listed, everywhere. This is not a general purpose financial statement. This is intended for the use of Mr. So and so, not be shared with anyone without my. If someone relies on it without asking me, then I'm not responsible. Okay, I've given it only to this person for this use. If he uses for something else, don't hold me responsible. Right? That para is utmost important to save you from unnecessary. Yeah. Formats are given, but how many of us follow the format? Because we end up, there are so many which are issued as general purpose instead of special. Many of it you can cut down under the terms of special purpose, and only few you will issue as general purpose. Every report that comes to you for signing, always question yourself whether this is general purpose or special purpose. Wherever there is special purpose, always put this. Because we are auditors are going to be something like a extreme stages, isn't it? There was an article which was written in one of the news, I think business, said that auditors are going to be extinct like dinosaur because there's so many regulators are sitting on their head, isn't it? Oh, relaxations, exemptions. Let's have a look at. Now, I'm not going through the entire standard because you all. So, whatever is the relaxation or the exemption, I'm just. But wherever we want to stop and discuss, have it. Yeah. Yes. Always law supersedes accounting standard. Unless that law gives a specific way of accounting. For example, mutual fund. Mutual fund, if you see there is a specific regulation on how much management can be put in and how much management charges can be charged. So that can be, but accounting will be followed by normal accounting. Yes. 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 Then the format of the balance sheet itself changes completely. Right? So coming to AS pen. 87 is the normal standard itself. So it's not a. So in case of idle PPE, what is the carrying amount gross amount and any fully depreciated value. In case of revalued PPE, carrying amount of assets if they are carried under, and also carrying amount of PPE retired from active. So this is completely not applicable to. You can still go and do that in 1 and 2, level 1 and 2. Okay. So there is a encourage disclosure again for forest risk policy of the company. In AS, you know that that entire story of 5 pages is mandatory, and that 5 pages actually gets copy pasted. Isn't it? Commodity price, forex price, this risk, that risk, everything, combination, ECL, everything is put into 4 pages, 109 notes. Right? So I'm not sure, but then here is the requirement wherein you can give the ERN, that is enterprise. Minor ones, so I'm speaking faster. Accounting for other disclosures are specifically required by regulation, but relevant statute enterprise. In case some other statute requires to make specific disclosure, then that is mandatorily required. Just to take an example. Okay? In a normal financials, we bifurcate long-term and current investments, isn't it? Yes? And then we apply the accounting policy accordingly. In case of current investment, then we actually the market value, right? And also the long-term quoted, you give the long-term value, right? Current market. However, say for example in AIF regulation, it says that all investment has to be valued or it has to be presented at fair value. So that will supersede the given this thing. Gratuity trust. If there is a gratuity trust of a company, and if the gratuity trust, for example, has invested in a stock that has gone down, right? So what happened? What happens? It's always the responsibility of the company. Make good the balance because the employees should not be suffering for any loss that I make. No, I'm not. Yes, I'm talking about some security that has. Okay, sorry. So any security that has debentures have gone down. Yes. So say there is a permanent loss. Say for example, you invested in a security that has gone into. So it is a permanent diminution. Then the company has to pump in the funds, isn't it? They can't sit because it's employees' money and they have. Right? So those kind of things will obviously permanent diminution provision and moved on. In case of gratuity or PF trust, you can't do that. It has to, if it is a moment you say it is a permanent, you have to get the money. Correct? Yeah. So those are the kind. Most of us are aware of it. It is based on number of employees, the actuarial calculation, disclosure of certain paras. So I have till that not found who has read AS15 end to end. We have read it for the purpose of doing the work, but end to end at one go. So if anyone present here, I would be more than happy. That actuarial valuation is not applicable to those conditions. Yes, actuarial valuation is non-applicability or disclosure exemption. There at the top, level 2 and 3 are exempted from this. One, please, no questions. One is actually those things exist in that company. For one, there is no exemption. All exemptions come for 2, 3, and 4, largely. Right? Yeah. So recognition and measurement of other your PF and other things. So all that there are relaxations. So the way it is understood largely is no actual valuation and 7 tables in case of, you all know that, right? No? Okay, 3 tables is only giving the current situation, how much you have provided for your tally with the liability and the P&L. That's for where actual valuation is not applicable. In case of actual valuation applicable, table for planned assets, one more, okay, your future service cost, experience adjustment, you can any withdrawal from P&L, and different if you have superannuation, if you have more benefits, pension plan, this, that, less. So the basic way everyone talks is happy. Easiest way of knowing. The same table was actually not applicable. Still applicable. That's a rough count of number, I'm not saying the thing. But that's a slang that is used. Yeah. So this is level 2 and 3, and then plotted view. 50 to 116 and 129 to 151. Sorry, 50 or less. Yeah. 50 or less, that's a typo. Yeah. Yes, yes, 50 or less. When I explained also, it was 50 or more. That's a typo error, I corrected. Yeah. And then this is AS90. One is no. So what you're supposed to write is in the basis of so this is level 3 entity accordingly, and the company has taken relaxation that is or not taken relaxation. So that statement you have to know.
Standard is applicable,
No, no, it's not like Caro, where everywhere you will go and say. For example, inventory. For example, inventory is not there. It's a service. So it's more basis of accounting is more for guiding like which level is there and then which are not whether you've taken the exemption or not. So these are exemptions available. You can go and actually you can do everything. So no one stops you there. Right? Generally no one does. So if I don't have an inventory, I will make a note that that you have to balance between disclosure and excessive disclosure. So plus 3. Yes, that is a different case because you have in last year's figures, you have something to show them. So then you will have to say this year it is not there. Recognition or derecognition has happened because there are certain exemptions or certain things that transactions have ended. That's a different story. What I am coming to is there it is completely not applicable. Service company या तो inventory completely not applicable. At least last year था ये सर नहीं है derecognition. Finances. So what do we give as disclosure? What is the lease payment that I have done? What is the liability? Then the table 0 to 1 year, 1 to 3 year, 3 to 5 year, right? Yes. So basically, so there are four year 19 lesser lessee. So those tables that you are giving is not applicable in case of 2, 3, and 4. Reconciliation between MLP and balance sheet and present value, and then reconciliation not more than 1 year, 1 to more than 5 years. The table, okay, total of future minimum lease payment, the detailed description of lease and how it is. Those things, that table specifically is not applicable in case of 2, 3, and 4. Now this is repetitive in a way because this is lesser lessee in all the options. Okay? Are we good? Any doubts? So the entire standard has 4 sections, right? Lesser in terms of lessee, lesser lessee. So exemptions are similarly lesser lessee. Yeah. Okay. This is very interesting and very important. Case 22. Now, do we think, first of all, of non-company entities because accounting rather than accounting standard? Ideally, it should arise. Yes, 43B is one thing. If actuarial is applicable, then that difference. Depreciation, if you logically think about that difference, is one thing, isn't it? It should logically arise, right? But larger thinking is DTA तो होगा नहीं सब कुछ income tax के हिसाब से, which is not right. Okay, so in case of all companies, policy with respect to current tax, provision of tax, advance tax, and DTA is applicable. Do you all agree? Do you all agree? Yes. So what is there is that in case of level 4 company, that is, what is level 4 company? If anyone remember? Turnover less than 2 crores. So in case of those companies, then these exemptions are available. So current tax, so there is no distinction between that. So the disclosures with respect to different taxes not applicable. Now there is a transitional requirement here. What when a non-company entity gets classified as level 4, okay, accumulated deferred that is there when it was a level 3 or level 2 or level 1 as the case may be of immediate previous accounting period has to be adjusted against opening revenue risk. Okay, so for level 4 there is no DTU, DTA or DTL if in the year. So when how do you determine the level? If I want to determine for 23, 24, then 31st March 23, 23. So if I determine for 23, 24, it is becoming a level 4 entity. Then I go to the balance sheet, check if there is DTA, and then I will transfer it to opening reserve. This is a transitional requirement. Okay. Now what happens if after 2 years, company again becomes level 2, level 3, level 1? What do? Create DTA again. Right? Yeah. This is something that is necessary to know. So step 1, make a checklist. Level 1 to 3 determine करने के लिए and वो checklist में previous year का भी level का कॉलम रखना ताकि नेक्स्ट ईयर आप ऑडिट करो आपको समझ में आए कि प्रीवियस ईयर में कौन सा लेवल था 1 और 2 और 3 से वो लेवल 4 पे जाएगा वगैरह करना राइट ओके 26 nothing major here so intangible asset के लिए we used to give impairment loss reconciliation beginning end of the period, and impairment loss is reversed. So this is something that is exempt to, not to all. Further, value in use and market value जो impairment के लिए लेते हैं, वो चीजों में there are some relaxations. If you have specific cases, I would advise you go and read the exemption very much in detail so that, because generally in these cases impairment is not taken hota nahi. Okay, so please have a look at if you have such cases. Okay, वो चीजें इसमें, वो कैश फ्लो फोरकास्टिंग, सीडीयू इवैल्यूएशन, वो चीजें इसमें एग्जाम्प्ट होगी इन केस ऑफ 3 and 4. 1 and 2 में तो एप्लीकेबल है. Now, in case of 29, enterprise has to disclose for reconciliation, opening, closing, additional provision, amount used against provision, unused. So ये वाला level 2, 3, 4 को applicable नहीं. Okay? But this is something I don't see coming. This is generally what we do in case of any large provision that is sitting on the right. Opening balance, addition, deletion, closing. ये तो हम सब major amount के लिए करते ही हैं. Practice, you can get an exemption under 2, 3, and 4 here. And in case of each class of reimbursement, ये detailing तो देते. Basically, the notes that come below the contingent liability. Contingent liability provision के नीचे जो notes आता है, those are things that are slightly exempt here, specific disclosure. Making provisions is applicable, certain disclosures are not. Okay. Okay. Let us see how much we have understood. Okay. What is the date from which new scheme of classification of non-company entities by ICI as on 31st March 2021 is applicable? First April 20. How many for 21? It's 20. Yeah. Whether any changes in applicable accounting, does this announcement amend any accounting standard? Yes, no? No. This doesn't amend any accounting standard, but it is and actually tries to make it applicable to different levels. Whether each non-company entity is required to comply with all accounting standards issued by ICI. So based on that. Purposes of applicability of accounting standards, non-company entities are classified into 4. Do not forget the 4th one, where you always include 4. Okay. Whether classification criteria is applicable to non-company entities. In case an entity is required to follow Ind AS due to whatever legal regulator. Details. Whether exemptions given to level 2, 3 and okay. Partial or full. Yeah. Exemptions that are intended to avail. They can choose some, they can do everything. They can follow all standards, give all disclosures, give recommend. have to have that much time and you have to get that much fees. Moral of the story that we are coming to is ask for increase in fees because this involves a lot of time and effort. First of all, you have to teach to your team members, right? And then you have to, first of all, we have to read, you have to understand, to teach our team members, then you have to verify that, and then you have to, the clients won't understand, so we end up making things that will take additional time and effort. So all that actually is the ultimate outcome. Whether an entity can decide not to avail exemption, yes, it can, but it has to give a note. Okay. What is the authority attached to the model non-company financial statements? It's illustrative in nature. You can make changes if you want, but not the complete format. What is written in text in the announcement is put up in an Excel format for ease of use. So basically, what we quote in the study book is that only PDF and things like that are not very convenient. Let us put up Excels so that it is easier for people to just pick it up, and that Excel has all the linking, schedule to balance sheet and things like that. Was that kuch link hai? So basically, if you pick up that Excel and it will be easier for even 500 people. I'll give you the link. 500 people should reinvent the wheel. We made it in such a way, download the Excel, start populating. So TV डाल के linking भी कर सकते हो. That we have not done because but पूरी बैलेंस शीट लिंक है, तो आप शेड्यूल्स में डालोगे तो मेन बैलेंस शीट में लिंकिंग आ जाएगी. Then you will have to just yeah, I'll do that. Or 4 previously, but now it is what is the obligation? All standards applicable and all will go out. Now, interesting question here. You will have comparative, right? Do you have to restate comparative? How many of us think yes? Obligation to restate last. But you can do it. No one stops you from doing it, or give a detailed note that these things are not. That will be for a smaller non-company entity. It will be too much of. I want you to restate everything, isn't it? All of us can use. If someone who is a non-CA also are preparing financial statements, they also can use. There is no obligation on this. Which are the types of non-company entities who can use the model financial statements? Anyone other than whose format is already defined by the law or regulation. But format you can use as per the said regulation. There are some of these FAQs are also there in the technical guide. I thought since we are discussing, let me put it as an event. Whether it is compulsory to follow this model, that's an Excel sheet to facilitate. It's not mandatory, but that's where even if you want to do it, that's how you will end up. Right? There won't be any different way of doing it. Disclosure requirement if entities turnover ready. That means एक entity 2 से 3 पे मतलब the note has to give detailed things, so it will have additional exemption या फिर it will, if it comes down exemption बढ़ जाए तो उसका आपको detailed notes जरूर देना पड़ेगा. Can entities follow accounting standard on voluntary basis? Very much. Yes, you may not use the relaxation. Disclosure as per AS 27. A venturer has to disclose the information provided in 51. As we discussed, अगर consolidation करते हैं, use the principle of 21, 23, 27, and the joint venture has to give the disclosure accordingly. नहीं करते हैं, तो फिर नहीं होगा. But then you will have to apply the principle. Yes, 27. Whether non-company entity is required to prepare or interim financial statement. Depends on standards, depends on situation, not mandatory. If you do, then if not, then you will have to give the detailing, right? Disclosure we talked about that whether it is also an SME, NSME. So NSME relaxations plus this, whatever is available, you can avail everything. So you will have to apply accordingly in form. I pause for 20 seconds for you to go through, and for those notes, all this has to be covered. Shifting from one level to another has to be covered. Any transitional impact, exemptions, relaxations that you are taking, all those things have to be provided. And then this is also necessary as per 10.18 of guidance note on tax audit under 44 AB. So, but then this will warrant a one-pager report also. Okay. Can use the cash accounting system. This I think at the beginning only the depreciation rates. Have we discussed this? Yes. It's not always only. Then always think beyond Income Tax Act, and you should think beyond Income Tax Act based on useful life. UDI is required. Any the financials UDI is required? Of course, yes. You know the latest announcement, right? You can't revoke the UDI beyond 48 hours. So you can generate within 60 days, but you can't revoke it 48 hours. So in some days, the 60 days will also reduce. Is tax auditor required to comply with accounting standards by preparing financial statements for the purposes of while auditing financial statements for the purposes of tax audit? Yes? Of course, yes. Because the guidance note also says the same thing. Is accounting standard applicable in case of charity? Yes or no? If they are doing any business, commercial or any other activity, then accounting standard is applicable. It is very difficult to say and it does not do any kind of slightest of the activity that they do, even it may get covered in the business activity and even it will get into the. So this is the link for the flipbook which was issued by WRC, then by the Accounting Standards Board. So I'll just open this Excel file. I'll open one of those. So LLP, non-LLP, I'll open non-LLP one. Yeah. I'll have to change the screen, I guess. I need to change this screen share.
Share
Oh, शेयर किया हाँ कर दीजिए Slowly.
Loading. हटा देता हूँ। Excel.
बंद हुआ एक्सेल पीपीटी के अंदर से खोला था एक मिनट एक पीपीटी ओपन
यही है ना पीपीटी?
So, हाँ कर लो ओके ये ऑन है ऑन कर दो
On.
Okay, let's go through the financial statement format. So this is illustrative format and you can make slight changes when you require. Okay, this is the balance sheet format, which is our usual normal balance sheet. So you have equity and liabilities, you have owner's fund, owner's capital account, and reserve and surplus, as the case may be. So if you see, this is already linked to the schedule. Okay. So every item on the balance sheet is linked to the schedule. So you can populate the figures in the schedule and it will get populated. You may use it to add. So please check your formulas before you finalize, because if you add rows, then ensure that it is getting captured into the totals. Yeah. Long-term borrowing, deferred tax liability, other long-term liability, long-term provision. Now, what we have cut down in long-term liability and borrowings is that we, as per Schedule 3, we are required to give covenants, we are required to give interest rate, conditions, any breach, all that. So that detailed disclosure is not given. However, the face of the balance sheet almost is similar. So basis is always taken. Now, one interesting thing, as you all know, where does the format of balance sheet emerge from? So as you know, the limit on the LLP is defined in the Companies Act and not in LLP, right? Limit on LLP currently, even though it is said that there is no limit, but the limit on number of members in an LLP is in Companies Act, which says 15 members, correct? So similarly, in Companies Act, it is said that in case there are any other entity which wants to prepare the financial statements, it may do as near to as Schedule 3. It doesn't say follow Schedule 3. It says as near to as Schedule 3. So that is the basis how this is actually emerged from. So you have current liabilities, you have short-term borrowing, trade payable. Now here the detailed split is not there as per the new Schedule 3. We have restricted it to total outstanding due to MSME and non-MSME. Why this is coming here is that this is not a requirement of Schedule 3 or the LLP Act or any other partnership act. This is the requirement of MSME Act itself. It says that an entity that is borrowing or that is dealing with the MSME has to give this disclosure in its financial statements. So this is coming from that act and not from Schedule 3. Because this is a common question that people have, that why we should give MSME, वो तो Schedule 3 में है, हमको कहाँ applicable है, but MSME Act बोलता है. And this from this year, you all know that MSME, if you delay the payment, then it is getting added to your income. The direct payment will get added rather than the interest. Till now, only the interest and penalty used to get added. Now the entire delay in payment or the payment amount itself will get added. So I think we have to start creating awareness amongst our clients, because they may not be aware of it. और year end में हम बोलेंगे इतना बड़ा addition, तो फिर हम कोई बोलेंगे कि आपने बताया क्यों नहीं, आपको बताना चाहिए था ना. No, so then you will have to make a very express statement. You have to ask for confirmation, that confirm that whether you are MSME, और फिर आपका renewal भी हुआ है क्या, क्योंकि every year based on their status they have to get it renewed also, no? So renewal हुआ है क्या? अगर उसने नहीं बताया तो वो problem उसका है. but then that will be very necessary for you to have it on record that the company has asked for and they didn't give the information. So अगर वो बिना पूछे बोलेगा कि मुझे पता नहीं, तो फिर प्रॉब्लम होगा एवरीवेयर, कंपनी नॉन कंपनी एवरीवेयर. वो रिन्यूअल डेट आ जाता है ना उसका. तो ये जो अप्रैल 30 का आपका एमएसएमई रिटर्न था, सो उसमें पीपल हैव स्ट्रगल्ड हाई टाइम, राइट. अप्रैल 30 का जो सर्टिफिकेट अपना फॉर्म फाइल करना था एमएसएमई आरओसी में, राइट, it was a big struggle because even if you have one party who is an MSME and as on 31st of March it has crossed 45 days that you have not paid, you have to file that form. उसमें भर भर के नॉन कंप्लायंस आने वाले हैं, बहुत लोगों ने फाइल नहीं किया, वो सबको नोटिस आएगा अभी 6-8 महीने. Assets, we have non-current assets and current assets, and the flow is same: PPE, intangible assets, CWIP, and intangible asset under development. Detailed disclosure जो project suspended वो सब है, वो सब अभी हम लोग ने इसमें नहीं डाला है as per schedule 3. Non-current investment, then deferred tax asset, long-term loans and advance, and other non-current assets. These things are largely similar. Then current asset, you have current investment, you have inventory, which is as usually if you have the requisite line item, then trade receivable, then cash and bank balance. Now there is always a debate between cash and cash equivalent and cash and bank balance. If you all are aware of the debate, I think 99% everyone is aware of what is it that we disclose in the balance sheet, whether it is cash and bank balance or cash and cash equivalent. Cash and cash equivalent is in cash flow, AS3. Cash and bank balance is balance sheet because that is more inclusive. Cash and cash equivalent is more narrower as compared to cash and bank balance. So this explanation is also given in AS3. So please do read. And the things that we have to disclose in balance sheet is always cash and bank balances. Inside this, there will be cash and cash equivalent, which may be a carve-out returns. Yeah, both may not be all the time 100% tallying, right? Short-term loans and advance, and then other current asset, summary of significant accounting policy, and then the last statement, then the signature block, obviously. Who signs the balance sheet first, we or the client? Whether these balance sheets also to be signed by client or only by us? Both, right? Yes. Please note that even though we help them in preparing, we are not the preparers of the financial statements. Yes, it is the responsibility of management, always. Whether it is one person, whether it is 10 people, whether it is a listed company, financial statements are the responsibility of management, right? There is a compendium of working papers that is issued, I think 1 or 2 days before by ICI. How many of us have seen that? It has a lot of templates, good templates you can pick up and start using. Okay, please go through that, and it is handy and helpful. It has various area-wise checklists and area-wise audit working papers, engagement letter format, and things like that. How many of us have engagement letters for every assignment that we do? I know stat audit, tax audit, we will have every assignment that we do. How many of us have? Huh? What stops you from having? We all have read Contract Act, right? Yes. Is audit not a contract? Is any assignment, consultancy, engagement not a contract? Does it not have the 5 elements of Contract Act? Yes, no? Yes. Why are we not signing? Why are we not signing? It's not implied. I tell you, tomorrow, everything is good, everything is rosy. Something goes bad, it gets badly rotten, right? If you go into a court of law without an engagement letter, liability is as decided by the court of law. You can put an arbitration clause, you can put a limitation of liability clause, you can put an indemnity clause. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. Limit your liability to one time of fees. Unless it is proven that the person is willful misconduct or fraud or negligent. To what extent? 75% of cases you can defend. At least you can have some level to defend. Do we all make the engagement letters for all the things that we do? Do you have all these clauses on email? Do you have all these clauses written on email? It is acceptable. It is very much acceptable. But do you have all these clauses? Do you have scope of work, objective, timelines, when it is getting concluded? Then you have terms of business. Do you have terms of business? Why you are not doing business? We are doing business. And audit is also a contract. Every assignment that we do, whether it is due diligence, tax, audit, everything is a business. It's bound by contract. Yes or no? It's food for thought. Please go back and check for every assignment whether you have EL. If you don't have, please start issuing ELs. Very, very important to protect our interests. Because these days, our interest has to be protected. Gone are the days when you used to think it's okay, it's implied, it's okay, they will understand, we will understand. No one will understand. Isn't it? Yeah. So please have a habit of making an EL for everything. Yes, that's another important thing. Please take PII, Professional Indemnity Insurance, which covers not only the firm but the partners also. Please look at the clauses very carefully. Don't take only for the firm, take it for partners also. If you are sole proprietor, please take comprehensive insurance. And ensure that you read your insurance. Do not take because someone is selling to you. Please see your type of business. What is the amount of things that you do? My business may be different than yours. For example, if you are doing forensic audit all the time, and you are doing expert witness in front of CBI, in types of EOW and everyone, you run a very high risk. I run a risk, but then you run much more higher. Once you go into EOW, I don't know. You may sit there for 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, 2 days also. I don't know. Your risk is different than my risk. So please read your insurance and what does it cover? And what is the amount for which you should take the cover? That's an important question. Have you thought of? It should be at least, your cover should be at least twice your turnover. Twice your turnover, at least. Okay? That is with the assumption that even if 4 claims come on one day, you are able to sustain and live. Right? So please do these things. Very, very important. Sign all ELs with all the contracts. So when you start taking insurance, these questions are there in the proposal form. Do you give indemnity? Do you take indemnity? Do you subcontract your business? Do you take indemnity from them? Do you have limitation of liability? Do you deal with foreign countries? Do you deal with UK, US? Are you bound by FCPA? These are the questions that you have. We have the habit. Okay, FCPA, okay. Do we know the implications of FCPA? Right? So please pause and think. And it is okay to leave some business at times rather than actually getting badly hurt later. Please do think on insurance as well as this. Sorry for digressing for a few minutes, but I thought it is important. Yeah. Exceptional items you have profit and loss before extraordinary items, and then extraordinary items, if any. So this is the same flow: tax expense, current, excess, shortage, deferred tax, and profit from continuing operation, discontinuing operation, tax on discontinuing if you have, and P&L. And please note, comparatives have to be given. Okay. So these are notes which are actually background of the entity you will write. significant accounting policies you will mention based on what is your type of income. So that could not be written. So we have kept it open. In the background of the entity, you have to cover which is the level of the entity, what are the exemptions you're taking, you're not taking. That's mandatory for you to cover. Then you have, you can modify this based on if you have fixed capital, floating capital, current capital, interest component, all that. So this is a basic one that we have. Then this is our reserves and surplus, capital reserve, if at all you have, revaluation reserve, other reserves, undistributed surplus. Then you have your borrowings. So we have not given the detailed condition. Term loan from bank, from other parties, loans repayable on demand, deferred tax, deferred payment liability, then unsecured things. Nature of security, terms of payment may be stated. Here everything is may be stated. You may go by it or you may delete it. But then it's better if you have, it comes for your reference also. So that's why it is given there. Then DTA, the same table, current year charge and what is the opening and closing and what are the items that are adding and deleting to the DTA detail. This is other long-term liability, provisions, employee benefit, gratuity, leave encashment are the two most common things that we have. If you have more, then you're free to give. Other provisions and then trade payables, MSME, non-MSME. And this is that table which MSME Act requires, like any interest that you have to provide, anything outstanding. Then other current liabilities, these are again illustrative. If you have anything, you can put it, or otherwise you can state nil also. So, sorry, this is your normal PP style PP table. So you can make it horizontal to vertical, vertical to horizontal, that everyone knows. So transposing is also allowed, because that's also another question that comes up, that asset idhar dal ke main heading udhar dal sakta hai kya? Kaise bhi dal sakte ho, there's no problem. So this is current year, previous year, right? And CWIP and intangible moment. And this is investment, current, non-current, same ditto, trade, quoted, unquoted, other investment. So whatever was there in the standard, we try to put all the headings. So if you don't have so many headings, you can delete it. So preference share, equity share, government, bond, ये वो सारे मिलेंगे. जो है रखिए, जो नहीं है वो delete कर दीजिए. Okay. Then details of investment in partnership firm and the valuation in case of current, non-current, and then also quoted value. Then loans and advances, capital advance, other advance, which is all, that is kept. And also whatever is good, doubtful, and you have the classification with respect to that, other non-current investment. Then inventory, kept it in short, not the detailed table of Companies Act, broad category and all that. We have deleted that, kept it very crisp and short. Trade receivable also secured, considered good, considered not good. Not gone into the detail of bucketing, aging, and things like that. And cash and cash balance. That's when I said cash and cash equivalent, and then other things. There can be more than cash and cash equivalent, right? And other bank balances, if you have earmarked, if you don't have earmarked, and things like that, and the total zero. And this is the last schedule. Revenue, your normal revenue from sales, product, service, grant, donation. Other operating revenue, if you have excise duty, then crossing up and deleting here. Other income, interest income, dividend income, net gain, non-operating income, COGS, delete whatever is not applicable. And if this entire COGS is not applicable, if you have service company, modify it accordingly. Then employee benefit, finance cost, depreciation, and other expenses. This is where your financial statement ends. Now, detailed disclosure in addition to this, as per the accounting standard, is to be given. This is only model of the financial statements. Because it is not possible for us to actually put out all the types of disclosures here, we have tried to keep it to the minimum, and we have said that this is how your balance sheet will look. But more than this, you will have to actually do certain things which will be needed. Yeah, just I'll go back to the PPT quickly for one last minute as an important. presentation mode, please. स्क्रीन पर डाल शेयर कर दो yeah good so quickly touching upon something that is everyone's pain point, obviously not very much on the financial statements, but since work not done is work not documented is work not done. So it's very necessary that we actually prepare our auditor's responsibility to prepare documentation of the work or of the things that are done to be adopted for all types of historical information. Laws and regulations have specific requirements also. It helps in planning the audit, assess supervision and review, results in better conceptual clarity, facilitates better understanding, supports and evidence. I think we all know this, but this is a quick, reminder. So for small entities, it is written in 230 itself that it is less extensive. You have to record various aspects that you have audited and various stands that you have taken. Okay, internal control may not be there. You will go directly on the TOD or the OSP type of audit, that is substantive testing and things like that. But all those things have to be documented. Ownership, you have to keep it for how many years? 7 years, 8 years, 6 years? In total 8 years, because it is from the date of audit report. So for 31st of March, you end up doing your report by 30th September or 31st of December. उधर से 7 साल तो मतलब financial year से 8 साल. Unless there is some assessment, dispute, anything going on, then the retention period does not apply, right? I think largely many questions have been answered, but still if you have any questions, happy to take that. Yes. हाँ कोई obligation नहीं है, but rounding off कर सकते हैं, but not like schedule 3 you have to or shall do, but कर सकते हैं. There's no restriction. Yes, if you have an LLP with 500 crore turnover, you can make it in lakhs, no problem. Yeah, you can delete also, or you can say 0. Either ways will apply, is okay. Sorry? Yeah, I think we saw that in the FAQ also. It's not mandatory. It is illustrative. But if you start doing what is written in the technical guide, converting that into an Excel or into a doable form, it will come to this. First of all, there is nothing called certification of 3 years financial statements. There is either audit or there is no audit or no certification. If you do an audit, issue a report and then certify. If you don't do an audit, then don't certify. Think about it. You can't verify the balance sheet. You can either do an audit or not do an audit or do a limited review. Limited review cannot be for full period. It can be less than full period as per SRE 241. Sorry? That is a specific certification we are talking about. He is talking about entire financial statement certification. No. Everyone will accept, sir. If CA signs, the whole world will accept. It is like we should not sign those things. We cannot do that. That's what I'm saying. That's what where we started. That there are different types of, what do you say, inconsistent practices that are happening. We should stop that. It's in our hands that we stop it. Today, for example, if Purvi says that I won't issue this certificate, they go to another person. Even if the another person says no, then only they will stop. Till that another person keeps certifying, They will keep taking from someone or the other. You know, the reality is this, that we are still issuing certificates into whomsoever it may concern. Guidance note and certificates is there from 8 years, and we still say to whomsoever it may to concern. There's nothing called to whomsoever it may concern. So it is not a pamphlet that we will stand outside Andheri station and distribute, right? So we have to be very careful when issuing the reports, because we have our UDIN on that. Certifying financial statements is only through audit or limited review. If not, then no certification. Either special purpose or general purpose, or if you want, you can do a limited review, but limited review cannot be done for full period. It has to be less than a period. Yeah, net worth certificate is a different thing. So follow the guidance note on certificate and issue the net worth certificate. Net worth certificate is extraction of only 5 figures out of the balance sheet, for example. And then you can say that these figures have been taken from the unaudited or audited financial statement. Yes. Yes, of course. Of course. Yes. Sorry? No, normal white paper will also do. It is enforceable if both parties are signing the agreement and it is not a MOU. If it is MOU, it may not be admissible in the court of law. But if it is agreement that is signed by both the parties, not even on stamp paper, but on a white paper, is always enforceable by law. Put it on your letterhead and then sign it. Yeah. Yeah. So you make it as per that format, but then accounting standard you comply based on whatever is your level, and give the relevant notes. Sorry? Yeah, I will. That is a PDF that I have got. I'll share it with Purvi and she can put it on the group or something. Yeah. Certificates is, I think there has to be a separate session on certificate, because there are lots of things to talk about on certificate. I think there are lots of practices that should stop, in my view. Now, this is my personal view. Based on the guidance note on certificate, there are lots of things that has to stop. And we are still freely going out and certifying anything, which is highly risky, because audit is true and fair and certificate is true and correct. You have higher liability in terms of certificate. So any certificate that you issue, sir, please issue only in terms of guidance note on certificate. Do not issue in any other format. If any bank, any regulator asks you in a certain format, then you prepare your covering letter and also issue that covering letter to be read along with the certificate.
So you said that should be mentioned to be. So in unaudited balance sheet cases can.
Net worth certificate you can, but you can't issue a UDIN on unaudited balance sheet. Net worth certificate you can. In the net worth certificate, when you write the paras of auditor's responsibility, director's responsibility, following of SQC1, then the opinion, there is another para. I have audited the financial statement of 31st March and issued my report as on this date. And I have not issued my report, or I have issued my qualified report. I just stretch your example. मैंने issue किया report 31st March का balance sheet पे, से जुलाई में issue किया. अगस्त में client आया, मेरे को net worth certificate चाहिए. Okay? So मैंने बैलेंस शीट क्वालिफाई की थी कि उसने कुछ प्रोविजन नहीं किया एंड प्रॉफिट इज अंडरस्टेटेड और ओवरस्टेटेड एज द केस में भी. ओके, तो नेटवर्क सर्टिफिकेट इश्यू करते टाइम मेरा नेटवर्क सर्टिफिकेट भी क्वालिफाई होना चाहिए. रिपोर्ट क्वालिफाई करके मैं उसी डेट पे क्लीन सर्टिफिकेट नहीं दे सकती सर. उतना लेवल तक अपने को सोचना पड़ेगा. अगर नहीं सोचे तो यही चीजें हैं जिसमें एक्चुअली घूम के हम फंस जाते हैं. क्योंकि बैंक स्मार्ट है, वो क्या बोलेगा, अच्छा ऑडिट रिपोर्ट क्वालिफाइड, एक सर्टिफिकेट लाके दे, और सर्टिफिकेट क्लीन चला जाता है, विच इज बिग नो नो. which is a big no-no. Whatsoever. हाँ, it can only be to the addressee and the purpose. And then last में एक restriction on use para कि इस बंदे को इस purpose के लिए दे. This certificate has been issued to the board of directors for the purpose of submitting to. बैंक का नाम भी लिखो, IDBI, IFC जो भी है, वो बैंक का नाम भी लिखने का. सब बैंक को बांटने के लिए एक सर्टिफिकेट दोगे तो आपका क्या प्राइसिंग है सर? आप वापस उसको प्रायर कंसेंट, वो बोलता है मैं IDFC को दिया, अभी मेरे को HDFC को देना है, तो फिर आप एडिशनल फीस मांगो. आपका रिस्क बढ़ रहा है ना, हर एक बैंक को दे रहा है, आपका रिस्क बढ़ रहा है ना, तो एडिशनल फीस मांगे उसके लिए. सॉरी, I would put it this way, that it is how you let the other person perceive what you are. Okay, so I think over ages we have given a inappropriate perception. We have to somewhere set it right. I think even if few of us have started setting it right, the value will automatically be seen. You start refusing, saying that मैं नहीं करूंगा, आएगा आपके पास भाग के एक्स्ट्रा फीस दे के, नहीं तो आपका क्वालिफिकेशन भी लेके जाएगा. एक बार मना करेगा, दूसरी बार तो लेके जाए. Yes, that is what I said ना. If she refuses, someone else gives, then फिर वो someone else के पास ही जाएगा. Till the time that someone else also says मैं नहीं दूंगा, तब तक वो someone else के पास जाता ही रहेगा. No. पूर्वी ऐसी है, very high need for certification. Yes, anybody. Even if verification can be done by anyone, I can verify certificate that is issued by you. I have to put my mobile number. I'll get a message only that I have verified, and you will get that someone verified. That's all. I can verify. Anyone can verify. So when someone verifies, you will come to know that I had given only to this person. Why did it go to that person? तो वो ईमेल पे ध्यान रखिए सर कि मैंने तो इसी चीज को दिया था, अब दूसरे को दिया, तो क्लाइंट को फोन करो कि तूने तो 25,000 में एक ही सर्टिफिकेट लिया था, इसको देने के लिए अब दूसरे को क्यों दिया? एडिशनल फीस दो, नहीं तो मेरे से रिलीज लेटर दो, नहीं तो मैं ईमेल करूंगा कि यू कैन नॉट रिलाई ऑन दिस. सॉरी सर, आई कांट हियर. कौन सा फाइनेंस? For tenders, okay. No futuristic certifications. करूंगा मैं नहीं करूंगा. सीए का साइन फ्री में नहीं मिलता और रिस्क ऐसे ही सर पे लेके नहीं बैठ सकते, नहीं करूंगा मैं. यस, गाइडेंस नोट ऐसे सारे सर्टिफिकेट के लिए एक ही फॉर्मेट है, उसको आप हल्का ऊपर नीचे क्लिक कर सकते हो. सभी के लिए है. अंडरलाइन कॉन्सेप्ट सेम है, अंडरलाइन सर्टिफिकेट सेम है, बट आप उसमें क्या लिखते हो उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. और क्या लिखते हो सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी है. ओपन एंडेड सर्टिफिकेशन, ट्रू एंड फेयर, वो क्या था वो, सर्टिफाइड टू बी ट्रू, ये सब अभी को टोटल बंद है, उसका दुकान कंप्लीटली बंद है. नो सर्टिफाइड टू बी ट्रू, नो रिटर्न सर्टिफिकेशन, नथिंग. दे हैव, आई नो, उसमें स्पेसिफिक है, but there are some paras that are not there in the RERA certificate, so you have to issue a covering letter. So guidance note says that issue a covering letter wherever you do not have leeway to edit the format that is given by them. ODI certificate है, उसका format है. अभी I'll give a simple example. ODI certificate, वो बैंकर बोलता है मैं नहीं चेंज करूंगा, हम बोलेंगे हम नहीं देंगे, तो अभी हमारे वाले क्लाइंट के बैंकर अभी हमारा फॉर्मेट लेने लग गए. तो उसने एक बार एक क्लाइंट में लिया, हमने बोला उसने तो लिया, इसमें क्यों नहीं ले रहा है? वो जैसे हमारे साथ करते कि आपने तभी तो दिया, अभी क्यों नहीं दे रहे हो. हमने उनके साथ करने चालू किया, आपने उधर तो लिया, इधर क्यों नहीं लिया? अभी लेने लग गए हमारा फॉर्मेट. ओडीआई सर्टिफिकेट सबसे कॉमन होता है ना, आप जितना पुश करोगे उतना जाएगा. बट वही है सब मिलकर पुश करेंगे तो ही हमारा रिस्क कम होगा, नहीं तो रिस्क विल बी ऑलवेज हैंगिंग ऑन आवर हेड. Yes. Okay, I think that's all I have to share. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Padmashree, for this very informative and session with a food for thought. At least we'll go back and think about how we are preparing the financials and the change will come. Also, thank you for going out of your scope today and explaining other topics also like documentation and certification. On behalf of the JB Nagar Study Circle, I would like to propose a hearty vote of thanks to our today's faculty. Also would like to thank all the coordinators for today who had helped us in managing the event and the members who attended. Thank you. Thank you so much.